evening to you, dear viewer, and welcome once again as you join us on 24 News Radio and Television at 20. My name is Olushola Oyewole, and I'm really very happy, as a matter of fact, elated to bring you another program today. This is a sort of discussion program, and today we're taking a critical look, a very hard look, an assessment of media practice and media practitioners in Nigeria. We're going to be talking about the print, electronic, and social media. And for that purpose, I have two very eminently qualified public affairs analysts. As a matter of fact, one of them is a practicing journalist, certified, and he served in so many capacities in the information side of government. And the other person is also very active in terms of assessing developments and unfolding trends in society. He's a public affairs analyst by excellence. Let me start by first introducing him. He's somebody very well known across the length and breadth of the state in the person of Elder Ayo Agbodale. He is one who says his activities all the time. He's very, very objective. He doesn't really mind who talks what when he takes a position. And I tell you something else, most times when he takes a position, 9 times out of 10, he's right. Good day, sir, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us in the studio.
Thanks so much.
The notice was so short.
Thank you so much, my brother.
We're really very grateful.
Good day to you. And I want to add that I won't forget my profession. I'm a chartered librarian.
Oh, yes, that's true. That's true. That is true. He is indeed a librarian. Perhaps that is the reason why he's so knowledgeable. You know, he has access to all sorts of information. Let me also quickly introduce and welcome our other guest in the person of Honorable Lanre Ogunshiri. He's a former member, House of Assembly, Old Ondo State. He was a one-time vice chairman of Mobile Local Government, a former essay on information to a former governor in Ekiti State, and also a former commissioner for information, youth, sports, and culture. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good day, Shola.
Yes, thank you so much. Well, like Elder Agbodale said, he is a librarian. So let us start from the point of history. So, Elder Agbodale, looking back, maybe 10, 15 years ago, would you compare the practice of journalism or, the role of the media to what is happening in modern day Nigeria? Is there any comparison? Are they poles apart?
There are bases for comparison. Okay. There are certain areas that I as a person, I could see negative developments. And there are certain areas there are positive developments. And when you look at the media for the past 15, 20 years, maybe I can even throw it back to about 20 years ago, we can see that the media was not then digitalized. It was not as digitalized as we are today, as we have today. And when you look at the media too, you will find out that it was an analog era at that point in time. But today, 2025, we can see that the media industry has gone digital, and the era of information communication technology has come into the media industry too. Even the coming of artificial intelligence has really assisted media in the present dispensation. Then, in respect to practitioners too, the practitioners are now more educated than before, unlike before. Because when you look at the media industry, when you look at the practitioners, they have the masters of almost everything. Just like my own profession, like leadership, ditto in media industry, practitioners must be jack of all trade and master of all trade. Jack of all trade, master of all trade. Mark my word, because the kind of conversation you're having, the kind of information you're having, you must be knowledgeable. So practitioners these days are more educated. And when you look at the education part of it, when you go to the universities and the training schools, you find out that it has now been specialized. You have the media studies, you have the theater practice, you have all kinds of things. So in that respect, there's positive development. But when we are talking of the negative development, it is so unfortunate that most of the practitioners, there are few remaining, but most of the practitioners, they have allowed partisanship to really becloud their practice. They are more Catholic than Pope, to the level that you'll be thinking most of these journalists, most of these media practitioners, are they really CPS of government? Are they really press officers of governors? I mean, I belong to some platforms, WhatsApp platforms. You can see the way some journalists, some media practitioners of today, the way they massage the ego of politicians.
Their principals.
The way they are not necessarily their principals. because they are not officially appointed to be the press officer. They are just journalists there and there. They will just, at times, in most of these WhatsApp group, I don't listen to the information they bring because there will be repetition, repeating the same thing severally. I mean, where is the place of investigative journalism? Where is the place can we still find the likes of Delegiwa in this world? Can we still find the likes of Beeku in this world? Can we still find the likes of Ayeko Otobisi or Obajo of this world? I mean, media practitioners Sheikh Moshoba of this world, even Enahoro, Tony Enahoro, who moved the motion for independence, they are journalists, the Latin Jackanders of this world. Even those people are not, they don't have access to the digital education I'm talking about today. But you find that most of these practitioners, the way they run after politicians, most especially, the way they massage their ego, you will find no news. Then when it comes to government media, some of the government media, you can even predict the news item. They will start with news item activities of the governor's house, activities of the government office, activities of commissioner, activities of this, then foreign news, the response, and it ends like that. It shouldn't be like that. There can be some items that is called community news, not necessarily being paid for. There are some, it may be negative news. Maybe there is a bomb blast somewhere, I won't mention any specific place. It is the responsibility of journalists or media practitioners to go there to cover. It's also a community news to bring the education of the people. Like we are already in the era of politics and politics now. It is the responsibility of the media practitioner to educate the populace on electoral matters, to make sure that if certain issues are died on, no, Nigerians, they forget it easily. For example, there are certain issues that will be ongoing. If care is not taken, Nigeria can forget about it. And leadership usually capitalize on the forgetting nature of Nigeria. It is the responsibility of media practitioners to bring certain issues of common interest into the front burners. But by the time some other things are taking place behind the scene, which I may not be able, behind the scene, which are not good enough, some things, some narratives, as your what we are saying, the logo of this place says, some narrative can just be easily forgotten. And you know, it's somewhat part of the strategy of some politicians in this country is that if they want to distract attention from the main issue, for example, in Nigeria today, the main issue in this country is insecurity. Another issue is the welfare of the citizen. It is even enshrined in the Nigerian Constitution, 1999 as amended. But if some politicians want to play some smart games in terms of strategy, they may deliberately bring certain issues into Bona. Like they can even bring issue of defection. Before you know it, we'll be talking about defection, politics of 2027, Natasha Akoti. We won't be talking with, I mean, what does all that got to do with the welfare of the citizen? And who makes this thing possible? Media practitioners. Is it deliberate? Yes, it can be deliberate. So these are some of the things that I could see. Maybe as time goes on,
yes,
we'll talk about it, especially the political aspect, which my colleague Honorable will also have something to say about it. So, but I, as a non-partisan member of the people.
Yes, thank you very much, Elder Arugubade, for your opening salvo. Let me now go to Honorable Ogunshi. Well, you heard what your colleague said just now. Would you like to add to that? Do you align with that position? Because what I want to ask you is a bit different, actually. By virtue of your experience, you are a practicing journalist, and you're also a politician too. How come there is no clash of interests? That's one. Then secondly, the involvement of politicians, wealthy politicians, their incursion into the media ownership. They own newspapers, they own radio stations, they own television stations. Is this a good development for media practice, or is it even a good development for politics? That's my question.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
And I want to thank Darumdadi for the very invigorating opener. When you say the media is the fourth
Estate of the realm.
Shows how important the media is. What is the main role of the media? Is to inform, to educate, and engage the people. and speak truth to power.
Okay.
That is what the media is allowed to do.
Okay.
Speak truth to power. So it doesn't matter whether you are partisan or not. There are satirical ways of speaking truth to power. That's one what you talk about Ayokoto.
Mm.
So those are satirical ways of speaking truth to power. But the media does not operate in a milieu. It operates within the society.
Yeah.
I want to be eclectic. I don't want to be like politician, journalist. I want to look at things from a broad perspective.
Okay.
The attachment of Nigerians to money is embarrassing. When you say journalists, what is a journalist? You and I know that there's a constitutional provision that says before you can call yourself a journalist, you must either have a first degree and either a first degree in mass communication or a postgraduate diploma in mass communication with your first degree.
Yes.
But what you have these days is
diploma in journalism.
Or a
postgraduate diploma in journalism.
diploma in
No, diploma in journalism.
No,
Yes.
HND in journalism.
No, diploma. A diploma will qualify.
A diploma.
Okay.
I went to the NIJ and I got a postgraduate diploma.
Yeah, that is the post. I said you must have a postgraduate diploma,
Yes.
an HND in mass communication, a BSc in mass communication, not an OND in mass communication.
Okay.
It's there. It's in the constitution of the NU. It's there.
In other words, most media practitioners or most journalists are not even qualified.
They are not.
In that case.
There's a lot of quackery and fakery.
True.
That's the first part. The other part is when people get into power, they recruit, and the easiest people to recruit are unqualified people because they are in quantums. Yes, they are out there. Just start a platform, and all you hear is, like he said, all you hear is praise, praise, praise. For example, the anniversary we just had. In other developed democracies, there are no anniversaries.
It's a zero.
An
Nothing
anniversary
special.
is for the people. It's not for the government. The people are to now give a feedback. You can't be actor and also be the audience.
On script.
Yeah, when you are the governors, the reps, they are the actors. Take the president. He needs a feedback. He's done so many things. He's done constituency allowance for his National Assembly. He's done giving of grains to them for festivities. Bags of rice, trailers of rice were sent to all the states according to him. And I used to ask a question recently that where is the commissioner, where is the federal minister of information? Because I don't see him. I don't hear him. Most of the time you find that the person talking is the SA to the Mr. President. Sometimes you don't even know who clearly is in charge of the information machinery of the presidency.
There's so many of them.
There's so many of them. And sometimes there's a clash. And this is why we are not appreciating Mr. President. In fact, that is why there's a disconnect. Because Mr. President means well, but there is lack of institutional support.
Yeah.
He says, I have tripled the governor's allocations to states. Have the people been able to benefit double of what they used to benefit?
If not triple.
If not triple. Have the service delivery been as efficient as it was when it was less? Sometimes he says uh, you can have local vigilantes to counter insecurity and all that. Are they sincere? Are those people being funded? Well, he needs to get a feedback from us. It's not about, and sometimes the governors too, even down to the councillor in the ward, needs a feedback. Maybe you'll be giving us rice. Maybe what we really require is Gary. Maybe you'll be giving us boreholes. Maybe what we really want you to do is to repair the dams. Maybe you've been working on project A, but the people really want, or maybe we want you to be faster on what you're doing. So I think that the media is selling itself short by pandering to the wishes of politicians. I'm a politician. Okay. I'm a journalist. And I've had the opportunity to be at the helm of the information industry. And I see that the information set, for example, in the state here, let me say that the Ministry of Information has the highest level, high level manpower. There was a time we took statistics and there were about 319 people with master's degree in the Ministry of Information. High caliber people. So we must engage these people because it is in engaging the populace that we have credibility. Now, social media. It's been said that the next war will not be fought with bombs and guns. It will be fought with laptops and phones. It's laughable. But you've seen what's happening now? Just imagine misinformation. I've seen people react to stories, and when you say, "But why are you talking like that?" I say, "I didn't even hear the original story. I just went there. I wanted to catch the governor's eye. So let me bash you so that the governor." So the media has a very important role. So, like he has said, it was a journalist that moved the motion for independence. That's how critical and important that's the media. Chief Obafemi Awolowo was the first person to start. I think it was Enahoro, Azikwe, that started these pilots, West African pilots, and all that. And then Chief Obafemi Awolowo follows with Tribune and other people. But it didn't really stifle Tribune. Because when you stifle all these, some of these platforms that he is talking about, nobody looks at them. Yeah, because they are boring. Yeah.
So yes, gentlemen, I want to call your attention to something. But before I do that, well, dear viewers are just joining us. The program is Crossfire on the Narrative Talk Show, coming to you from the studios of 24 News Radio and Television Activity. And like I said earlier on, our guests are Elder Ayan Gadi and Honorable Ali Bushi. Let's go back to the issue of ownership of media houses and media platforms, print and electronic, by well-to-do politicians and dignitaries. He mentioned the president. The president is a very good example. He is a mogul in the media world. He has TVC, he has the Nation newspaper, he has a plethora of radio stations across the length and breadth of the country. Now, before he became president, we knew exactly how these stations operated. He maximized the profit. But you now look at it on the moral scale now. Shouldn't he have divested himself from all this and all that? Because even as we speak, these media houses are still promoting an agenda that might not, well, to all intents and purposes, might be in the best interest of the people. But there's always an underlying factor. So if you look at this situation in advanced communities or societies, when you want to serve the people, you divest yourself from any personal businesses and all that. But here in Nigeria, when you want to serve the people, you use your position to further, expand your personal business empire. Let's talk about the moral aspect of that.
My brother is just very, very unfortunate, and indeed very, very frustrating. When you see the ownership of media in Nigeria reflects what I can call the editorial direction of that media. when we are talking of editorial direction, it doesn't need print media alone. Electronic media and some other things, they have their own policy. Immediately in Nigeria, you switch on to most of these media, you'll be able to know and predict what they say. Before this time, I was one of the fans of a particular program being anchored by some ladies in a particular television station. I got interested in that, the way those ladies usually analyze newspaper in a social way. I deliberately don't want to mention the television station.
Okay.
But along the line, when politics...
Except if it's the narrative talk show.
Yes, feel free to mention the narrative.
when you look at those, the contribution of those ladies in that particular program, you will love it. The way they analyze newspaper, but in a special way, with a slant for social contribution. How are you? Birthday of my uncle is this. You just get interested. But immediately politics came in full force. The whole thing, I as a person, I started not having interest in it again, because you can easily conclude the direction of the analysis. In fact, it can be done in a way that certain news items in the newspaper will not even be mentioned, depending on where the whole thing falls to, not to talk of analyzing it. When you look at government ownership too, it depends. We have seen situations where somebody will be talking on the studio and there will be signs and symbols by the anchor or by the cameraman. By the time that comes in too, how can the person talking really be free to talk? So when you are being distracted because of too much directive of the owner. The ownership of that particular media house will dictate the narratives, the kind of talk that will come out from that place. Then when you look at the newspapers of the same thing, the same thing is happening in the newspaper industry. So the ownership, which are majorly politicians, majorly businessmen, go, and to some extent private individuals, dictate the kind of news items that comes out. And if that should be the case, then naturally it will not serve the people. It will serve the interest of the proprietor of that particular media house. The media house may not even know the traffic to the media house will get reduced. And even when you are talking of the business aspect of the media, people may not be interested in taking advert to that kind of organization, because I was discussing, I said, even if you continue to praise unnecessarily, even in my house, I'm the HOD of my house. I'm the HOD of Nayarunade's house. And my wife is deputy HOD. And maybe my children are also holding one office or the other. Do you know that my greatest critic as I'm talking in the house is the baby of the house? He will criticize me that you should not do like this, you should not do this, this is what you're supposed to do. And I will accept it. But a situation where anytime I get to the house, my children will hail me, daddy, you are good, my wife will say you are good. We are the best people that really knows me are my children and my wife. That is supposed to be the role of the media. But the ownership of the media in Nigeria has really affected the responsibility of the media as the first essence of the rep, as supposed to be people's media to take care of the welfare of the people, because the role of the media is just very, very necessary. Honorable Obishi was talking about when he was the commissioner for information in Ekiti State, the caliber of media practitioners there. That is in terms of education. What of in terms of morality too? Who owns them? Is it not the government? Can they write a piece like Ayeko thought, even in satirical way? Can they write an article? Can a government radio or a government newspaper really write an editorial that does not conform with the philosophy of the government, but that will be pro-people? Are they really pro-people? I mean, these are some of the things. In Ekiti State, can we really write and discuss about an issue like the airport? Recently, in a platform, I was talking about the commission that the airport was commissioned, but unfortunately, the airport is not really still effective. Immediately, somebody just wrote in the online Facebook, and he was just attacking my submission. to the level of attacking me personally, you'll be baffled that the person that wrote that thing works in a radio station.
My goodness.
I won't call him journalism by the definition of what Honorable has said because I don't know his qualification. But to make it clearer, the person is not working in a government radio, but he's working in a radio that is owned by somebody, by a politician. So that kind of journalist is becoming more politician. You are not the press officer, you are not the CPS, and you are talking like that. So these are, maybe he wanted to connect the post or maybe use the street language connect. Or you want to get the position of SSA. I wonder how many SSA government we have. Can a radio station, can a television station, can a media station, can print media stamps to government, as Honorable has rightly said, talk rightly to the government that the number of ministers you are having, can NTA say the number of ministers are too much and too humongous? Can a television station owned by a politician and government says, look, I think there is too much, the cost of governance is high. Can they write editorial like that? So these are the issues. But having said this, my dear brother, you will ask me the way out. The way out is that I look at the era of Delegiwa. Delegiwa was initially working with Moshood Kashibabu. I mean, if I start to be corrected anyway, the Concord Industrial sort of thing. I think there was disagreement. Don't forget, MKO was a politician. There was disagreement, and as a result of the disagreement, they have to go out and float a Newswatch magazine. And that was the era of Beepu, Delegiwa, and some other elements like that. Three of them, and initially, Newswatch, I became an avid reader of Newswatch. And Newswatch was really shutting things out. Even Dele Mohamed also was one of the brilliant journalists we had in that era. Then later, this woman Ayahu, the era of Ayahu, this was Chris Ayahu. They went to jail, but most of the media practitioners, they want to eat their cake at the same time. They don't want to sacrifice anything. And meanwhile, there is no profession without sacrifice. So the way out is that I am appealing to journalists who have been in government like my honorable and some other people who have one or little money to float their own media organization. There's nothing bad in Honorable Bushui to have his own media outfit too. And I want to give kudos to the owner of where we are here. I think he's one of the people that is neither a politician or anything. He has allowed a free flow of opinion. That's why we are talking like this. If it were not so, if we can ask as many people as possible that are not politicians, that are not too partisan, we have some people who are not politicians, but they are more candid than Pope. They are more politicians than politicians. If we can have such people that set up that kind of thing, and what bothers that businessman is to make money. If an outfit is objective, if an outfit is not partisan, the outfit, the media outfit will make money, my brother. People will flow there, the traffic will be more there. They will bring adverts. Even the government will recognize that kind of outfit.
I will keep that in the palm of
It's a very simple. If you are very objective, people, in fact, if I see any people very objective, people will come there and I will be a marketer. Without mentioning names, I will find out that there are 2 radio stations in this city that has allowed people to talk. I won't mention them because people may say I am biased. Because I'm very close to one of the radio stations.
Let me tell you that myself. We are here, we are guided by objectivity.
Yes.
It's a non-negotiable thing in the practice of journalism. You must be objective and balanced, and that is our guiding principle. In any case, we'll be taking a short break now. We'll be back. And when we come back, we'll be talking about regulation, the regulation of the media industry, and the regulatory bodies, if they're doing the right thing or they're doing very well. Do stay with us. We'll be back very shortly.
From Abuja to Lagos, Sokoto to Port Harcourt, Enugu to Ilorin, all across Nigeria, we bring you news and information that will make your day. We are news. We are 24 News Radio TV.
Right, welcome back and thank you very much for staying with us on the program today. As you can see, this is indeed a crossfire. Coming from Elder Ayorudade and Honorable Larry Bushi, and we're talking about the media and media practitioners in Nigeria, the positive and the negative. Well, both gentlemen have said so much, but there's still always a lot to say. So now we're moving on what I told you earlier, talking about the regulation of the media. Well, there's some established regulatory bodies like the NBC and all that. Without taking anything away from the NBC, even some practitioners are of the opinion that the NBC is biased in terms of implementing or enforcing these regulations. Some stations get the hammer all the time, while some stations are hardly ever checked, and that in itself does not, provide a level playing ground. So let's start from there.
Yeah. Once again, you're welcome back, listeners and viewers at home. Nothing is ever working as it should be in Nigeria. It's simple. The role of the media is to help government and to help the people. Hold the government to accountability, take take information from government to the people, and take information from the people to government. Along the line, there's always virus. Now, the problem with social media is it's media without boundaries. Some of those people you see on social media in Nigeria are very popular, like on TikTok and all that in Nigeria and UK. Some are in Ghana.
And they're throwing javelins
and they are throwing. I mean, you can see so many things about Toure.
Yes.
They are not coming from Nigeria. But the traffic here in Nigeria
It's very high. It's very high.
The government is not taking advantage of these things. For example, the president has some very positive achievements. Very positive achievements, development. Like, his 4Ds, I think he called it 4Ds, development, drive, and all that. Nobody is talking about it. Nobody is talking about the establishment of universities. Nobody is talking about his increase in the funding of universities. Nobody is talking.
Even the funding of state governments too.
Yeah, nobody is talking about. Okay, it's to hold the Betaedu scandal was made possible by social media, because in the past when we had analog president in charge, the minister could afford to say she was feeding school children during COVID.
When everybody was at home.
When everybody was at home.
Right.
So the government, it is in the interest of the government that records should be set straight. So the regulations are not enough. We, the people of Nigeria, that's what is in the constitution of Nigeria. We, the people of Nigeria, what kind of people are we? We are so self-serving. We are so psychophantic. We want to keep. That is talking about somebody attacking him because he talked about government project. But the government project is your project. It's not government project. It belongs to the people. I was taken by the jugular. It took the intervention of very, very eminent people in my political environment for my neck to be free.
That was detention.
Yes, because I dared to say I expect this from my representative, somebody I voted for. And you had one vote, I had one vote. And I talk about my expectations.
That's what your vote is your voice.
It's my voice. And I didn't condemn, but I didn't praise. I only rated.
And drew attention to certain areas.
I drew attention to certain areas. Because of the future. I said, and I talk about institutions and not persons. If the president is giving 2 billion to the senators every year to develop their senatorial districts, and 1 billion to the House of Representative members for their constituents, and their constituents are stupid enough to say nobody must ask questions. It's their problem. I'm certainly not the poorest person in my. They say I'm poor. Yes, I'm poor.
Who said so?
Yeah, there's that's one of the. Yeah, there's. It's not even.
That's ridiculous.
No, it's not even a bad thing to be poor. I would rather be poor because I think about 82% of Nigerians are very, very poor.
Yeah.
So I would rather be within the 82%.
Yeah.
Yeah, because as a politician, I always like to be with the majority.
Mr. Potato.
So the government must show direction. Let me tell you my experience as a commissioner. Okay, happily you are also in that radio station. There's a program I do after the governor explains.
Yes. You come to elaborate.
I come to elaborate and say, I don't come to defend government. I come to explain. There's a difference between defending government. Because government is not perfect. We want feedback. So I said, let us have a phone in. And the fellow in charge of that radio station, who's supposed to be my subordinate, said, Governor said, nobody should phone in. I said, this is my organ that used to like people to talk. Why should we now call them? Why should we say? So I couldn't stomach it one anymore. I said, Oga, they said you said people should not phone in on our radio and television station. He just laughed. He said, who said so? Me that I used to go to Agbojeji sector. I used to go to the market. Why would I not want people to talk to me? The worst thing they can do is to abuse me.
Mm.
So he said, I will tackle it. And then there was a day he now came for that governor explain. He now said, why is this thing or why is nobody phoning me? I don't know whether you remember. He said, why is nobody calling me?
And the phone was introduced.
And the phone was
Immediately.
So some of the time, those of us who are put in responsibility we are so afraid of losing the position. And because we are so mortally afraid of losing the position, forgetting that where you are coming from, that no matter how much you try, you will still leave that position one day. We want to be more Catholic than the Pope. Like I said, the president is doing a lot. He's giving this state at least 2 higher institutions. Yes, it is state. Who's pushing it here? Who's pushing that image? But if you say today that water has not flown in the pipes in my local government, which is where I come from, somebody from Boeing will just fly in my face.
I say, what are you talking about?
So when you were in office, what did you do? What did you do?
As if you were put in charge of water.
So that is the Nigerian factor. But I just want, all in all, we as journalists, we owe it a duty to be didactic, deliberately didactic. We have to teach people. That's why Chief Obafemi Awolowo, I mean, it is enough reference for me. He said, the first thing, if you want to solve all this, educate the people first. You can't talk to 150 million people where 120 million of them are illiterate. For example, if you look at the problem of Boko Haram insurgency in the north, you will see that the lack of education is at the root of it. Because how can somebody leave the town and go and live in the bushes to make life better for him? I mean, so
it's like moving backward.
It's moving backward. Yes. And you see that. Look at the bridge connecting the north to the south.
Yes, that's what I was about.
More
it collapsed.
How are the southern governors reacting to that news? Because in 3 months we can produce tomatoes, we can produce pepper. We are not reacting to that news. I'm sure that if it can grow the tomatoes, it will eat. I'm sure that if it can grow the pepper, it will use. Instead, what people started shouting is, oh, the pepper will go up. Oh. Why? Because the bridge has collapsed. It is the job of we as media people to tell the people to hold their
Cutlasses and hoes.
yes, and then
And do something.
and then there are institutions like churches. We need to ginger them. I'm sure that Elder won't be annoyed.
Well, for your information, the Catholic Church is very, very important in the culture.
But you know,
JPI and all that.
that
they've been
is
involved
that.
for so many years.
And I saw yesterday. One thing that the president did again was to give autonomy to the local governments.
Well,
Have they taken the autonomy?
Well, they're probably not talking about it because there seems to be a gray area there. If Mr. President granted autonomy,
And the
have
governors,
the governors granted
the
autonomy?
governors now went. It's something in Nigeria that they will say this food is mine, and this one is yours, and yours is bigger than mine, and then you will say you are the one that you will superintend mine, especially the meat. So now, if you say this now, somebody will not see it as being objective if he's looking for a position. Because if Mr. President, in his wisdom, decides to give autonomy to the local government, by now, I want to see tractors in the local government. I saw, God bless, I don't want to mention it, that senator that brought tractors instead of vans. I saw the tractors moving.
I know the senator, but you should mention his name. I mean, that was serve as an.
Yeah, I saw Senator Michael Operemi.
Yes.
Instead of seeing motorcycles and vans to carry talks about, I saw him buying tractors for young farmers. That is exemplary. We should not allow such things to go as media. We should amplify it. So I think we'll get there someday.
Yes, sorry, but it's time to bring you back into the discussion. Okay. Let's have your own take. How do we as a people begin to sanitize that sector?
It will be very difficult to sanitize. Very difficult in the sense that it is a free space. The social media is a free space. About despite the fact of the Cyber Crime Act that makes cyber crime bullying an offense, cyberbullying and all kind of thing, you will find out that how many people have been really punished because of the cyberbullying. As the Honorable already said the other time, most of these people, they don't live in Nigeria. They are Nigerians, but they don't live there. So it will be very difficult to say the law will catch up with somebody in UK, with somebody in Dubai, with somebody in US, and some other things like that. So they exist and they operate. Then you will find out that what are the factors that really embolden this kind of people to operate. It is because of the leadership too. It is because of the political leaders too. There is no way I will not be mentioning leadership. Because whenever it pays them, when I say them, whenever it pays the political leaders, whenever it pays some people in the position of leadership, it can even be business leaders. They will make use of the same elements to bully their opponents, to deliberately create fake news. They call it content creation at times. To deliberately misinform people, to deliberately create problems in the society, to deliberately demarket opponents, to deliberately downplay certain achievements. It can be used by political leaders.
All you have listed are all negative.
They are negative. They are negative. But the bottom line is that you say, what is the way out?
Yes.
The way out is what I'm trying to say, that it will be very difficult. The only area where there can be way out is for patriotic people. The first estate of the realm we are talking about, to deliberately, as a matter of policy, inform, demarket those people that are misforming. I mean, what is so bad there? Look at what we are talking. Let us see it this way. the ways of political leaders. The ways of leaders at the level of governorship, at the level of ministerial, at the level of senatorial. They deliberately appoint some people as SA social media, and those people still have office. There are so many unofficial social media people that are working for those leaders. The way they employ them to massage their ego, the way they employ them,
Once you have an Android phone,
you just buy it for them, you place them on certain amount of money, they massage your ego, they inform members of the public. NUJ, Nigerian Guild of Editors, patriotic and non-partisan organization in the media can deliberately focus on these aspects too, of informing. So by the time any intelligent person will be able to know the truth from falsehood. In my church, they usually say if somebody is speaking heresy, if somebody is speaking something that is not true, how will you know that somebody is speaking things that are not true? You won't know until you know the truth. And they tell us in our church, the truth is in the Bible. When you know the truth that has been written in the Bible, so if anybody comes out with any other thing, you'll be able to tell that person, no, you are talking nonsense. The same thing in the social media. By the time this category of people deliberately create an avenue where I won't call them data boys, I will call it social media practitioners too, to really inform and give out the truth about the matter. Those people preaching falsehood, people will know them. But by now, majority of the people that are talking things that are not true are many on the social media. And that was why I said, who created this thing? It is the same people that are complaining about it. Take it this way. Why do we have thuggery? Why do we have insecurity? Why do we have Boko Haram? Why do we have terrorists? They started from political thuggery. They started from political thuggery. You employ them as thugs. You give them all kinds of drugs. After the election, what do they do? Nothing. And therefore, they go back to the bush. So the same thing when you deliberately employ these people during election time to be your social media handlers, let me put it as handlers. Immediately after the election, there's nothing to do again. They create falsehood in the social media space. And let me tell you, unfortunately, falsehood sells.
Yes.
And the era of content creation now, they make money out of it. And when you say you are creating content, immediately, if it is a negative, if I'm preaching the second coming of Jesus Christ now, if I'm preaching morality now, and I create a content about it, my followers will not be much. But let me bring certain negative things like I'm preaching nudity. I'm saying you can come to church without wearing anything, and I begin to show things that are not normal. I begin to say, oh, yesterday in certain location there was bomb blast, and the bridge collapsed immediately. 100 and something people died. You know the flow of followership. And the more the followers, the more the money for me. I mean, these are the issues that the government should address. Let government itself address issues. The Honorable said the other time that when things are going on, it is the response. Government should not keep quiet. Government should speak the truth. I was in a platform sometimes, I said there was an error in this state. A governor will come out in this state, and he will come out. The governor say, he used the word sha for non-Yoruba speaking people. The meaning of sha is sha is not let us share it. So, but these days when the allocation has increased, we have not seen any of the 36 state governors say, this is the amount now, this is the amount. But when the money was low, that governor, I mean, by the way, I won't mention the name of that governor. The governor in one of the states in the southwest in here, that is information. Yes. So no social media will come out and say, if the government says we only have 1 million, and the social media handler will say it is 5 million. Already has called UT, he has called everybody, that has told them the truth. And thank God for freedom of information law. And this is where I want journalists to dig into information. Dig into information, correctly inform people. If you say some people are miscreants in social media, we have the practitioners who are supposed to be well educated, who are, I think, are well educated, with at least a postgraduate diploma in communication. These are the kind of people that should directly inform people. You don't misinform people. Despite the fact that I'm not a journalist, but anywhere I belong to, I'm usually appointed as PRO.
You are inducted.
I'm inducted into maybe honorary. I mean, I will deliberately tell people what is really going on. And there are times too, you quickly write rejoinder. And when you are writing rejoinder, you don't refer too much into what the previous person that has preached first will talk. Just mention a little bit about it so that you don't dignify it, then you correct the situation. How many rows do we have? You say it. So these are the areas I think we can do. But as at now, I'm looking at it, we still need to tolerate them. There's nothing anybody can do, but the only thing we can do is let those people have the truth, continue to say the truth. And don't let the practitioners, they should not keep quiet. But it seems, my brother, I will repeat myself again, the practitioners looks as if most of the practitioners, they are focusing majorly on personalities, on massaging personalities. And when you look at it, it's because of money. You should not shy away. Brand Ebido, maybe it's beyond brand, it's now transfer. So they are now more massaging personalities than even focusing on issues. For example, my brother, I say times with that number, there is nothing bad in media practitioners in Ekiti to focus on one issue for certain quarter. For example, maybe because I'm in the hospitality industry, to focus on tourism. I say severally, Abanijori, there is a club called Abanijori, yes, very close to Adoya, close to police headquarters. Yes. So look at that area annually, just once in a year. They just come there, eat, the governor will come. I'm not saying this particular governor, all governors will go in, just for one day in a year, and they go back. Why couldn't we leverage on that, the media practitioner, to really promote that area, market it to the whole, not only Ekiti. Tourism is not a local affair. Market it to the whole world, encourage the government to do that. And I said, this is what we are talking about. From Lagos to Abuja, I start to be corrected. Itawure or Ekiti zone is the midway by road transportation. If you are leaving Lagos and you are going to Abuja, what we used to do in Lokoja, we stay by road anyway. We stay in one buka. Why can't we develop that Itawure area? We are next Efala, all those areas. Okay,
I remember that.
Collaborate with the private sector.
The government had that initiative.
It is
a terminus of sorts.
This is where the media comes in. Okay. You will not rest until it is done. It is even in the Bible. When I think it was Jacob, he said, look, angel, I will not allow you to go until you bless me. Why do we persist in prayer? We continue to ask God, do this for me. That is the role of the media. But in Nigeria, people forget things easily. When we discuss it for 2 or 3 weeks, it's forgotten. But it can be a deliberate policy by NUJ, by Nigerian Guild of Editors, to really make sure that this thing is done. Another area is that, in some professional bodies, there are disciplinary committee. I don't know, you are a member of NUJ, Honorable is a member. If there is a committee that can really map out disciplinary measures against some practitioners that engage in wholesome practices, then these quacks we are talking about, there are maybe ways of dealing with them. Because when we are talking of quacks, the people you call quacks that are really practicing well, they are even more prevalent. There are some people, they won't call themselves that they are NUJ, they say they are not journalists. But most of these media organizations, because they sell slots for them, slots are being given to them. So maybe for 30 minutes, for 1 hour, within that slot, the organization that set that slot for them should not just leave them alone like that. They should not just leave them alone like that. They should regulate, this is what you say, this is how to say it, this is not how to say it. But at times, because of too much of commercialization, 1-2 hours are sold to these people. By the time they are on microphone, they just continue to talk all over Nigeria without filter.
Yes, thank you very much for covering this one. For the program today. You're always hot and ready to deliver. You pointed attention to so many things today, and I can assure you that we have taken a thing or two from what you said. We at 24 News are doing it. We'll be focusing a lot of attention on the tourism sector here in the state and any other thing that needs attention. Sometimes governments could be gingered by foreign bodies and all that. If this is actually disseminated properly, we will see people coming forward to want to, partner with governments in this as well. So we'll be looking into that as well. And I also want to thank Honorable Larry Bushi. Well, this is Crossfire. We're saying it as it is our watchword. And of course, both gentlemen have said exactly as they say. It's been a pleasure having them on the program. And I also want to say something. When they were talking, a lot of areas were touched. If you feel agitated, slighted, or aggrieved, please feel free to come to this platform to state it from your own point of view, your perspective, and your opinion. And that's how we're going to move. In other words, I'm telling you, this place is open to all different political colorations, different professions, and of course, different views and opinions. Thank you so much, and keep another